Level 1. The island nobody wanted. You are 9 years old. Corsica, 1778. The island was sold by Genoa to France the year before you were born. You are, technically, French. You feel nothing about this. Your father, Carlo, is a minor nobleman with a large family and a small income. He has 7 children and one strategy: send the talented ones to French schools before the money runs out completely. This is your first lesson in capital allocation. He did not wait to be wealthy. He used the credentials of his name to borrow a future he could not yet afford. You are the second son. The scholarship is not guaranteed. You will have to earn it. You study French with the fury of someone who knows they are behind. Level 2. The outsider. You are 10. The military academy at Brienne, France. The other boys mock your accent. They call you the foreigner. You eat in silence. You are smaller than most of them. You discover mathematics, and it feels like finding a language that has no accent. Numbers do not care where you were born. A proof is a proof. In a room full of people with advantages you do not have, you identify the one currency where advantages do not exist: precision. You graduate, 16 years old, second lieutenant in the French artillery. You own almost nothing. You have almost no connections. You begin. Level 3. The Revolution. You are 20. France, 1789. The Bastille falls in July. Within months, the old world is accelerating towards something nobody has a name for yet. Noble titles abolished. Entire fortunes confiscated overnight. The men who ran France 6 months ago are either running or losing their heads. You watch all of this and feel something that surprises you, not fear. Opportunity. Every revolution is a liquidation event. Every liquidation creates vacancies, and vacancies are filled by whoever moves fastest. You choose France. You choose the side with the larger addressable market. Level 4. The Siege. You are 24. Toulon, 1793. The French Republican artillery is a disaster. Guns positioned incorrectly. No coherent plan. You arrive as a replacement officer, and within hours you have drafted a complete tactical revision. You identify the one hill that controls the entire harbor. Take that hill, and the British ships become indefensible. You do not argue with emotion. You argue with mathematics. The kind of argument that cannot be shouted down. You take the hill. The British ships retreat. Toulon falls in 16 days. You are promoted to brigadier general at 24. In any hierarchical system, the person who solves the problem others couldn't gets to set the terms. Level 5. The Egyptian Gamble. You are 29. 1798. You propose something the Directory cannot refuse: an expedition to Egypt. The real reason is different. France is broke. The Directory is unstable. Egypt puts an ocean between you and your enemies. Distance is a form of liquidity. It buys time. You take 40,000 soldiers and a team of 167 scholars, scientists, and engineers. You are not just conquering a country. You are documenting a civilization. The British destroy your fleet at the Battle of the Nile. You are stranded. You write magnificent dispatches back to Paris describing victories that are considerably more complicated than they appear. When the underlying reality is unfavorable, control the narrative. Every founder raising money in a difficult quarter understands this. Level 6. The Coup. You are 30. November 9th, 1799. France is exhausted. The Directory is corrupt and collapsing. You come back from Egypt with perfect timing and coordinate a coup in a single day. 3 consuls will now govern France. You will be first consul. The other 2 are decorative. You structure the deal so that formal power is shared but operational control is concentrated. Distribute the title. Consolidate the authority. A new constitution is written in 3 weeks. It is submitted to a public referendum. The yes vote is 99.94%. The number is fabricated, but the fabrication is audacious enough that nobody challenges it out loud. When you set expectations boldly enough, the expectation becomes the reality. For a while. Level 7. The Code. You are 34. Before the empire, before the crowns, you do something that outlasts everything else you will ever do. You write law, the Napoleonic Code. Civil equality before the law. Property rights that cannot be stripped by birth or title. Freedom of religion. The presumption of innocence. The right to choose your own profession. This is not sentimentality. This is infrastructure. A stable legal system reduces transaction costs across an entire economy. The code will outlive your empire by centuries. It is still the foundation of civil law in France, Belgium, Quebec, Louisiana, and dozens of former colonies. You could be remembered only as a general. Instead, you are remembered as an architect. Level 8. The Coronation. You are 35. December 2nd, 1804. Notre Dame Cathedral, Paris. The Pope has traveled from Rome to crown you emperor. It is an extraordinary concession. At the critical moment, you take the crown from the Pope's hands, and you place it on your own head. You are not emperor because God chose you. You are emperor because you chose yourself, and you had the audacity to do it in front of witnesses. You have crowned yourself Emperor of France at 35. You grew up on an island nobody wanted, the second son of a man who could barely pay his debts. Level 9. The Overextension. You are 43. 1812. Russia. Every advisor tells you this is a mistake. Russia is too large. The supply lines are too long. Winter comes too fast. You are attempting to conquer a market you cannot service from your existing infrastructure. You enter Russia with 685,000 men, the Grande Army, the largest military force ever assembled in European history. Moscow is abandoned and then burned before you arrive. There is nothing to conquer. There is nothing to negotiate with. There is only distance, cold, and the slow collapse of logistics. You stay in Moscow for 5 weeks, waiting for a surrender that does not come. Then you turn back. Of the 685,000 men who crossed into Russia, approximately 120,000 returned. The greatest military genius of his age made the oldest business mistake in the world. He confused top-line expansion with durable growth. He grew faster than his supply chain could support. Level 10. The island that mattered. You are 46. 1815. Waterloo. Wellington holds his lines until Prussian reinforcements arrive. Your Imperial Guard, the most decorated soldiers in Europe, is broken and routing before nightfall. You flee south. You surrender to the British because the British, you calculate, will treat you better than the Prussians would. This is your final miscalculation. At a certain point, a competitor is too dangerous to coexist with. They do not want to negotiate your terms. They want to eliminate your ability to compete at all. They send you to St. Helena, an island so remote it does not appear on most maps. For 1,500 miles from Europe, no escape is possible. You dictate your memoirs. You build your legend from the inside. You die there at 51. You started on an island nobody wanted and ended on an island nobody could find. In between, you rewrote the laws of a continent and built the largest empire Europe had seen since Rome. And now you are history. And so is your money.